Hello, everyone. First off, I want to welcome you all to a webinar on how to nurture and convert webinar leads to prospects and customers. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Annette Matthews, a product marketer for Zoho Campaigns, and I will be your host for today. Before beginning the webinar, I want to know if the audio and the video are clear. Any issue of communication, do let us know so that we'll try our best to sort it out soon. Also, I would like to inform you that there will be a dedicated question and answer session at the end of this webinar to answer all your questions related to the webinar and our product in general. And in between the webinar, if you have any doubts, you can always send it through the questions tab that is there at the top left corner of your screen. I have a few of our support colleagues who can help to answer all your questions. Without any further ado, let me begin our webinar for today by presenting the agenda. So today I will speak about the importance of webinars, webinar email marketing with Zoho Campaigns and Zoho Meeting, which will be followed by helping you learn how to convert webinar audience to prospects and customers using automation, and at last a demo for the same by using workflows in Zoho Campaigns. In order to stand out in today's marketing landscape, can we just go to random people and say hi? And we're just telling them that we are having a product, please buy it. Can we do that? No, right? So what do we do next? We will have to seek ways in order to compare different methods and decide what is best for our customers. And here we at Zoho Campaigns consider webinar as the best decision anyone could ever make in order to convince the customers. So now you would be wondering, why webinars? As I said, often we have heard of webinars being a great marketing tool for business. But have you ever thought of why it is being one of the perfect marketing channel in this digital world? So let me tell you from our personal experiences here in conducting webinars, we've got so many responses from people that made us do more webinars. We believe hosting a great webinar is the first step to success in driving more sales to business. When you compare a webinar with a sales call, you will find similarities. But then you get the intimacy during the webinar. I mean, you can just speak without much pressure, and the audience will also feel free to ask questions. So that's how you will have a personal connection with your contacts or with your audience. Let me explain further. But before that, have you heard about the principle of liking something? If not, the principle of liking something says that the psychology of buying clearly proves that we are more likely to say yes to a request if we feel a connection to the person making it or marketing it. So this can be made possible in all our businesses or in all our business platforms through webinars that will help you to build a real-time connectivity with your customers, and it also establishes the credibility which will be creating and increasing brand awareness. And here, while I'm speaking about brand awareness, remember that while you are conducting a webinar, you'll have to prepare for the webinar. You will have to record the webinar anyway, and these can be edited into smaller videos, which can be used as educational or training videos to boost your marketing efforts. Also, you would certainly have a script for your webinar. So this script can be turned into materials for future blogs or infographics, flipbooks, PDFs, etc. These can also improve your search engine ranking, thereby improving your online reach and review, which will again add value to your brand, which will increase your brand's presence in the market, in the current market. So by doing this, you will improve your reach and reviews. And by improving the reach and reviews, you are expanding your customers globally. So the ability to have a conversation with hundreds of people, that too simultaneously, is possible easily via webinars. Audience can get in touch with you. They can ask their questions, and they can feel a human connection, which will again improve engagement and thus will drive more sales. Thus, what more reasons do you need for conducting a webinar? So we can say that webinars can be used in building business and can be considered as a great marketing tool. So once you create a webinar or once you schedule a webinar, you will need ways to promote it, right? So here comes the importance of webinar email marketing. So my second agenda for the day is a webinar email marketing with Zoho Campaigns and the Zoho Meeting. So before moving on to the products, Zoho Campaigns and Zoho Meeting, I would like to give a general or a basic idea about webinar email marketing. So as I said, you schedule a webinar, and in order to get people attend the webinar, you will have to promote it. So marketing your webinars, that is marketing your webinars through emails, is called webinar email marketing. So first, after scheduling the webinar, you will have to send invitation emails to your contacts. So first, you would send webinar invitation emails to your list of contacts, and then you can send reminder emails to your registrants, where the goal is to get more attendees for your webinar, thereby improving your reach. So before sending emails, the foremost step is to ensure that your webinar content meets the needs of your customers. So if it's made sure, then they would be more than happy to connect with you, and this connection could be made stronger with the help of emails. So we can say that webinars and emails gives you a better chance of keeping your customers engaged. So here we'll see about 3 types of emails, which are pre-webinar emails, which I've already mentioned about the invitation emails, and then comes during webinar emails, and the last will be post-webinar emails. So during webinar emails is sent while you are beginning the webinar. So when you begin the webinar, you can send emails saying that the webinar has begun. So if they would like to join, if your contacts would like to join, they can click on the link and they can join the webinar. So by doing this, you are making sure that none of your registrants are being missed out attending your webinar. So that's how during webinar emails can be useful. And then comes the post webinar emails, where you would want to send a thank you email to your attendees, and you can incorporate the recorded version of your webinar, which will act as a stepping stone to engage with them throughout their journey with you. So you can receive feedback from them through emails, thus making emails again a medium to reach and engage your webinar attendees that will lead to more sales. So I hope you got a basic idea about webinars and webinar email marketing. Now, since we're discussing about webinars, we are going to take a look into our in-house webinar software, which is called Zoho Meeting. So Zoho Meeting is an online web conferencing solution that lets you host free webinars and meetings for teams and organizations. So I will quickly show you the capabilities of this product, which includes conducting instant and scheduled meetings with moderator controls, engaging your customers with presentations, question and answer sessions, and polls to get detailed reports of people who participated. With this, you can identify your target customers. You can also collaborate with anyone using the audio and the video sharing option. So this is about Zoho Meeting, our in-house application. So if you see here in the screen, you will find Zoho Meeting. So this is how it looks. So before moving on to scheduling webinars, if you want to send reminder emails, you can update it in the settings, and then you can create the webinar. So here, if you see the top left corner of the screen, you will find settings. You'll have to click on the settings, and here you can set the reminder email. So I want my audience or my registrants to receive a reminder email about my webinar 1 hour before I begin the webinar. So I'll be giving it as 1 hour. I'll be setting it up as 1 hour before the webinar, and it will be saved automatically. So I'm going to my webinars in order to, schedule a webinar. Here, let's consider Silker to be an online magazine company. So Silker is my company, and I want my contacts to have a basic understanding about my magazine. Basic understanding in the sense its evolution, the type of content they can expect from my magazine, etc. So for the easiest way I feel is to conduct a webinar so that I can reach my contacts in time without even having to leave my chair. So this will also help me to create a personal touch with my audience, as I've already mentioned, and I can always stay connected with them through emails, and it makes them feel that they are valued as contacts. So yeah, we'll move on to schedule the webinar. So as I said before, this is for my magazine company Silker, and I am going to give my contacts a basic understanding about Silker. So my title for the webinar will be introduction to Silker. So this is the title for my webinar, and in the description, here you'll find the description to be optional, but I will always recommend you to give a description so that your audience can expect or your audience can get to know what they can expect from your webinar. So here I would give them the description as join our free webinar to get to know more about Silka. And also I am going to give my agenda for the webinar. So this is the agenda for my webinar. I can number it. Yeah. So that's how I give the description. And I can set the date and the time for my webinar. I can set up the time. Okay, and I can also set up the duration of my webinar. So if it's a 1 hour webinar, I can schedule it as 1 hour, and I'll click on the schedule button. So we find the webinar being scheduled. And here, this is the link in order to promote the webinar. So you will have to just copy the link and you can paste it anywhere in order to promote your webinar. And here you will find the code which you can copy, and you can again paste it to your website or your blog so that the website visitors or your blog visitors will get to know about the webinar that is happening, and you will get more registrants and thereby attendees too. So that is about the registration part of it. You can customize the registration form. So for example, if I want to know more about my registrants, that is, if I want to send them future emails, I want to know their country. So I'll have to give the country from here. So I am going to choose country or region, and also you can add custom questions. So if you want any questions to be added, you can do that also with the help of a custom field. So I will save it. So that's about customizing the registration form. Moving on, in the registration settings, you will have automatic approval, which can be changed to manual approval. So this is all about registrants who register will automatically receive information about how to join for your webinar after the registration. So this is done if you are choosing the option as automatically approved, and if you are going to choose it as manually approved, then the organizers will have to approve in order to send the details about your information about the webinar. So that's about manually approved and automatically approved. So I'll save it as automatic approval, and here once the registration begins, you will find the total number of registrants, and if you are selecting manually approved, here you will find the approved ones and the denied options, or the denied people. So next, co-organizers, you can add even the webinar co-organizers, where you'll have to enter the name and the email address of them. So if you are hosting a webinar which will have more than one more than 2 or more hosts, then you can add co-organizers. And next, moving on to creating polls. So you can choose the type of poll which you want to send to your registrants. So you can have multiple choice and star rating. So here I'm going to select star rating. So I want to know whether they understood about Silker. So how well did you understand, did you get to know about us? So this will be a question which I am going to ask them, and I want the number of stars as 5. So I can give the rating scale labels as 1 star means poor, 5 star I'll give very good. So yeah, that's how I create a poll. And once it's done, you will get to know, you will find the details here, how many of them have participated. All those details will be available here. So that's how you schedule a webinar. So after scheduling the webinar, you will have to seek ways to promote it. So, and here emails play a major role, and this Zoho Meeting is integrating with the Zoho Campaigns, the email marketing software, to make sure that your scheduled webinars are promoted through emails. With this integration, you can promote targeted leads as customers by increasing your engagement with them through webinars and webinar promotional emails, as I've already mentioned. To drive more attendees to your webinar, send emails that are more effective, or that includes an effective overview of what they can expect from the webinar. And also you can find pre-designed responsive templates in Zoho Campaigns, which will help you to ease your webinar email marketing efforts. You can also conduct A/B testing for your webinar email promotions by altering the subject, the email content, or the sender details to track the open rates and to decide the best for your registrants or attendees. And last but not the least, you can track your reports of emails sent, the number of registrants, attendees, etc. in your Zoho Campaigns account to improve your email marketing the next time. So now let me help you with a short basic demo of this integration. So you have 2 methods in order to do this. So here, if you would have noticed, you will find an option called promote this webinar with Zoho Campaigns. So once you click on this, you will be redirected to your Zoho Campaigns account. You will have to provide the basic information of the campaign that you're going to send to your webinar audience. So here I'm going to give the campaign, I'm going to name the campaign as this name is purely for my reference. So the next time I enter into my Zoho Campaigns account, I will have to get to know like why I sent the email. So for that, I'm going to give the campaign name. Since it's for the webinar, I'll give it as webinar introduction to Silker. So yeah, that's the webinar, the campaign name I would give. Here, I can choose the webinar, and the subject can be, hey, we have a webinar for you. So this can be the subject, or you can also give, we have a webinar for you on Silker, so that when they read the subject, they'll get to know that it's from Silker and it's about Silker. And you can also give the center name. So here, while you give the center name, I'll always suggest you to give the name of the company, so that people, even if they forget your name, they'll not forget your name of the company, so that people will not forget the name of the company, so that you will have better open rates. So once you fill in the basic information, you will have to click on the next button, which will be taking you to the second step of this creating a campaign. As I said before, you have pre-designed templates in Zoho Campaigns for your meeting, for your webinar audience. So I will select this template. If you see, you can give in the organization logo, and these are merge tags. So once you sync your Zoho Meeting account with your Zoho Campaigns account, you will have the details from Zoho Meeting entering into your Zoho Campaigns account. So this will automatically be updated. So the webinar name here, the webinar name will be the name which you have given here. So Introduction to Silker will be the webinar name, which will automatically be updated when the email is sent. So here I'm going to give the description. If you are looking to learn more about Silker, join us. So yeah, that's how I would give the description. And moving on. So here you can have the agenda mentioned here, but since here the webinar description will automatically be updated from the Zoho Meeting account, my webinar description includes the agenda also. So I do not have to separately give an agenda here. So I am going to delete the agenda from here, since it will automatically be updated. And here the webinar time will also be updated from this. So yeah, and the registration link will also automatically get updated from your meeting account. You can maybe change the button name to register now or reserve your seats. That's according to your convenience. So you can save it. Before saving it, maybe you can also design your button. So yeah, bring out the designer in you with the help of this option. You can set the style also. Yeah. So once you're done with it, you can save it. And here you can also update the image of the presenter using the computer, or you can select it from your Unsplash. So that's how you update the image. And yeah, I think that's pretty much needed for my webinar. So I'll save and exit. I've clicked on the save and next button. Okay. Yeah, it's getting loaded. So this content is being saved right now. Once the content is saved, you will have to give the pre-header. And so once the content is saved, you will have to give the pre-header, and also you will have to arrange or set the header and footer theme, and then you will have to click on the list of contact to send the email or the campaign. So once you select the list, you will have to click on the next button, and then you would be receiving the option to send the campaign. So that's about creating a campaign from your meeting account. So once you click this is the method which would follow. Also, as I said before, you can sync your meeting account with the Zoho Campaigns. So here you'll find contacts in the left corner of your screen. You will have to click on, so before syncing, you will have to check if your Campaigns account is integrated with your meeting account. So for that, you'll have to click on the settings that is there in the corner of your screen. Here in the integration, you will have to click on the apps. So here you have all the apps which are being integrated with the Zoho Campaigns. Here, if you see, you will find it connected. So if you have not yet connected, then you would receive the screen as this. From here, you will have to connect it. And once you connect it, then you will receive the screen where you will be notified of the actions that will be performed after integrating your Campaigns account and your meeting account. So yeah, when you view the details, you'll find the account to which it is being synced. So after integrating, you will have to click on the contacts, and you will have to select the sync services. It is getting loaded right now. So yeah, here you'll find Zoho Meeting. and you will see the webinars that have been created with your account. So with my Silker account, I've created these many webinars. So it's being listed. I can also edit the setup. So I'll click on the edit setup, which is there in the top right corner of the screen. When you click on the edit setup, you will have options to add your registrants to any of your email lists that are already there. So I want my registrants to be added to the webinar registrants. And if I want my attendees to, receive updates about my magazine, I'll select product updates, so that when I send email to this mailing list called product updates, my attendees will also get information about the updates. So here I will add my attendees to webinar attendees, Silka webinar attendees. That's how I add them. And here you'll find the pre-mapped fields. I'll click on the save button. So it is saved. And once you go to the registrants, go to the webinar listed, here once you receive registrants, and after your webinar is over, you will also have the count of the attendees here. So if you click on this number, you will get the detailed report of the registrants who have registered for your webinar. And when you click on the attendees, you will have the number of attendees. So it will be directly taken from your Zoho Meeting account. So here you will have a detailed list of your registrants. Moving on to the next agenda for the day. How do you convert your webinar audience to customers? I hope you all know about automation in email marketing. To be precise, automation in email marketing means to strategize and send timely and personalized emails. So to engage with your webinar audience in every step of their journey, you will have to send them emails continuously. And this requires your time and effort. You will have to find ways to trigger a series of emails in order to stay in touch with your contacts. This is where automation helps you. So send out relevant emails to your targeted set of contacts. That is, here your targeted set of contacts is your webinar audience. So with the help of these emails, you will have to give your webinar audience a perfect idea of what must be done after they attend the webinar. So you are the one who is going to give an idea to your webinar audience about what they must do after attending the webinar. So here we are going to learn a few ways in which you can convert your webinar audience to customers, of which the first one is poll or survey your audience. So just as we discussed before, you can send emails to your webinar audience by attaching a poll or a survey. You can ask them if they are interested for upcoming webinars, and they can suggest topics for your webinar. This is one type of email which you can send them, asking them for their interested topics. And also these kind of emails will help you to receive suggestions from your audience. And also you can ask them if they had liked your webinar. By doing this, you can send more relevant content to them, thus making them aware that you value their time and effort. So that's how you can send emails to them after they attend your webinar. Next, you can turn your webinar into a standing resource. You can send your presentation or slides of your webinar, which can educate your audience, and it will remain as a valuable resource in the long run. So right now, if you check our Zoho Campaigns blog, you will find a webinar recap of our webinars. So this is one of the new ways which we thought would help our audience to come into our blog and see the webinar and get to know more about our product. So this is one method which you can also try out and see how it works. So that is about turning your webinar into a standing resource. And the next will be sending thank you emails. I don't think I'll have to explain this again since we have discussed it while speaking about webinar email marketing. And next is prioritizing leads. So according to the behavior of your webinar attendees and registrants, you can decide on how to go about them, the frequency of emails that needs to be sent to each set of contacts, the topics, etc. So after you prioritize the leads, you can target the hot leads. So once you prioritize your leads, you will have to target the hot leads who needs to be taken care of by the sales team. So here you will have to just qualify them as prospects. You can send them emails including offers. You can ask them to try your products with offers or subscriptions, etc. So that's about a few ways in which you can convert your webinar audience to customers. And since we have been talking about automation, let me take you to workflows in Zoho Campaigns, which will help you to improve and grow engagement rate with your webinar audience. So workflows will help you to initiate a series of messages and actions for your contacts based on their responses and behaviors. For this, you will have to log into your Zoho Campaigns account, and you will have to click on the automation that is there in the left corner of your screen. Once you click on automation, you will have two options that are autoresponders and workflow. So here we're going to discuss about workflows. You click on the workflow and select the create workflow. So here you will find different types of workflows in order to send for your webinar audience. So here I'm going to create a custom workflow for my Silker webinar audience. So the name will be given as webinar follow-up series. So yeah, I'm going to give the name, mention Silker here so that it will not get confused later. So this is the name of the workflow which I'm going to create. And here, if you see, you will find three processes which you will have to undergo in order to set up a workflow. The first one is trigger, then comes process, and then comes end of workflow actions. So these are the three processes which you will have to carry out. So a trigger is basically to define a condition for your contacts to enter the workflow, and the process is to define a series of actions to be performed on your contacts and trigger them when a defined condition is satisfied. And end of action workflow or end of workflow action is to define the step or action to be taken after the contact exits the process. So here we are going to trigger. So list entry will be the trigger which I will initiate first. Yeah, so on list entry I'll have to select a list. So I'm going to send my Silker webinar attendees emails. So here I'll select the list and click on the done button. So here, when after the webinar, my Silker webinar attendees, I want to send my Silker webinar attendees an email. So the process is to send an email. So I'll select the workflow. I want to send an email. So here I can set the time in which I want to send the email. So I want to send them email after 1 day of my webinar. I'll set up the time as 10:30. Okay. So here the time is set up. I'll save it, and you will have to also give the content. So since I said this is for my webinar attendees, I would give this is pretty much same as how you created the campaign for your webinar audience. So here I'll give the campaign name, which is again for my reference. So this will be webinar attendees follow-up. So I'll give the name here, Silker webinar attendees follow-up series. So yeah, this is the name which I would like to give. Subject can be, here's the webinar recording. So in this email, I'm going to attach my webinar recording, and I'll also update the name, and I'll have to click on the next button. So that's how you give the basic info, and you will also have pre-designed templates. So you have a thank you session here. So I'm going to select one of these templates. So here there is a template for webinar attendees. I'm clicking on it. It's being loaded, and yeah, here you can give the name of your or the logo of your company. So yeah, thank you for attending the webinar, and merge tags will automatically get updated. So this is about the survey. I'm going to say that here is the webinar recording, and I'll give a button. So the button name will be watch now. URL. So for now I'm going to give the URL as this. So this is the URL. I want this to be here. So yeah, not here, but here. Yeah. So that's how I give it here. And after this, I'll also want to add a text which would say that are you interested in our upcoming webinars? So if they're interested in the upcoming webinar, I'll give another button which will be upcoming webinars, and I'll take them to my upcoming webinars page. So yeah, for now I'm going to give this as the URL. So I'm having two URLs. So yeah, that's how I create the content for my email that I am going to send. So here you will have to add the pre-header, and you'll also have to give the header and footer theme. Pre-header will be your webinar recording is ready. Yeah, done. So I click on the next button. You'll be redirected to the workflow which you have been creating. And here I'll set conditions for people who have clicked on my link. So if they have clicked on my upcoming webinars link, so this is the link which I gave. If they have clicked on this link, I want them to receive another email. And if they have not clicked on it, I would want them to exit from the workflow. So I'll be giving it here. So here again, I can set the date in which I would want to send the email. So here I'll again add a new campaign, webinar follow-up series, Silker. Yeah, so the subject will be try our Silker magazine subscriptions. So yeah, again I'll add the name. I'll click on the next button. Again, I'll have to set a template for the campaign. So here I'm going to select this template where I would say them, I'll tell them that try out our subscription, our magazine subscriptions flat 40% off. Here I'm going to again give the link. I'll have to update the URL. So yeah, I'm going to save this, and you save and next. So here, once the content is saved, I'll again have to add the pre-header. and I'll also have to set the header and footer theme, and I click on the next button. So yeah, the content is updated successfully. And here also I'm going to set the condition where people who are opening my email will have a, okay, I'll have to adjust it. Okay, so people who are opening my email will be given a score. So I'm going to add a score for them. I'm going to configure the score. People who are opening my email will get 50. The score will be 50 for them. And I'm also going to assign tags for them. So here, for people who have not opened, I'll assign the tag as webinar interested people. And for those who have for those who have opened it and have got the score, I will configure it as to be nurtured. So yeah, that is done. I don't want this, I'll delete this. Okay, and once you're done with this, you will have to merge them together. That's how you merge them, and then you will exit them from the workflow. So yeah, this is how you create a custom workflow. So I'll explain this once again. So I have my webinar attendees list. I want people who are there in the list to receive an email about receive an email that contains the recorded webinar and the upcoming webinar link. So those who are clicking on the upcoming webinars link, they will be interested to know more about the webinar. So those who are clicking on that link will again receive an email that contains a offer for them. So once they click on the link, they'll receive another email, and if they have not opened it, they'll be exited from this workflow. And when they are again clicking on the subscription button, they will again I'll be giving them a score of 50, and they will be tagged as to be nurtured people. And those who have unopened or those who have not opened it, then I have assigned them a tag called webinar interested people. So once it's done, I'll end the workflow. So that is about workflow, creating custom workflow. And once the webinar is over, I'll activate it, and I will need a topic to associate the workflow with. So since this is related to webinars, I'll give the topic as webinar. I'll have to save and activate it. So that's how I do it. So that's about creating a workflow. And after giving the tag, you would be wondering what should be done. So here I'm going to again create a workflow for the people who have been given to be nurtured tag. So here you will find a nurture series where you will have all these different types of workflows. So I don't have much time to explain about all these workflows. So I'm going to move on to the product trial nurture. So I am going to use this template for my further workflow creation. So I've clicked on use the template. Here, I'll be giving the trigger as tag assigned because workflow which I created before, I have assigned the tag and stopped it. So here I'll have to select the tag which was assigned to them. So the tag is to be nurtured. So yeah, I don't want the list entry. I also do not want the on-form submission. So here I want this people to receive another email which will contain my blog which will contain my blogs about Silker. So here I'll have to again create the content. It's the same step which we have gone through before. So as I've already mentioned about the webinar recap that we have for Zoho Campaigns, here I'll also have a webinar recap blog for my Silker audience. So I'll attach that link here. So for people who are opening the email, I'll set a reminder loop for them. So people who are opening the email, I'll add the score as 30. And for people who have not opened the email, again the email will be a reminder email will be sent to them, and then I can exit them from the workflow. So that's how I'll do for people who are unresponsive. And once a score is created, I can push them to CRM. So yeah, pushing them to CRM is the end of workflow action. So this is how I have set up the following workflow. Yeah, so that is the workflow, and here I can configure action. So I can select whether to push both the existing new leads or contacts to CRM, or just the leads or contacts that are existing in Zoho CRM. So I'm going to select the first option, which is to push data of both existing and the new leads to Zoho CRM. I can also map fields. So here I'll have to select the account and the module to which it must be added. So here, if you find, I can map the fields. Here again, I can add or create another field. So I'll save it. So yeah, that's done. So once you're done with it, you can activate it. So since I have not created the content, it will show you to update the content, and then only you can activate it. So yeah, I think that's all we have time for today. Just like we saw for the webinar attendees, you can also create a workflow for your webinar registrants too, giving them tags, and maybe you can push them to CRM, or you can push them to another mailing list where you can again continuously send them emails. So here in this case, when you are pushing your webinar attendees who are interested to your CRM account, the rest will be taken care of by the sales team. So yeah, that's all for today. Now is the time for you to clarify your doubts. We are here to help you out. So thank you everyone for attending our webinar. A recording of this webinar will be sent to each of you as soon as possible. And in case of any feedback, you can send it to me directly at anand.m@zohocorp.com, or you can contact the support team at support@zohocampaigns.com. Also, we do have a Twitter handle where you can tweet about this webinar. You can use the hashtag as #IsItCampaignsWebinar. So please see the screen so that you can see it. Please do give us feedback so that we can improve our webinars for future. So we're waiting for your we're waiting for your response. Also, any questions or clarifications regarding the product and product demo, if required, please feel free to contact us in any of the email IDs that are mentioned on the screen.